Greetings, everyone. In the Mandela effect community, we are always looking for residual evidence to confirm our memories and to convince those who cannot see the changes that they are real. One of my goals for this channel is to provide compelling evidence that changes in our reality have indeed occurred. The evidence I will present in upcoming videos is not easily refuted. It cannot be explained away as just misspelled words or someone's bad memory. Much of it will come from the book you are now looking at. This book is the Gesenius Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon to the Old Testament. This book is an authoritative source on the English meanings of Hebrew words found in the Old Testament scriptures. To reinforce the quality of the evidence I will be presenting, we will have to understand some important things about this book. Now, this will not be an exciting video, but please hang with me for a few minutes while I lay the groundwork for future videos, which I'm sure you will find much more interesting. The following images I will be showing you were scanned from my copy of this book. First, let's start with the copyright page. Copyright 1979 by Baker Bookhouse Company. The first edition of Gesenius Hebrew and Chaldee Lexicon, published by Samuel Baxter and Sons in 1847, was used in the preparation of this edition. The note to the student, which first appeared in the 1857 edition, has been reset and added to this edition. Essentially, this is telling us that they have copied the first edition of this book, published in 1847, and added the note to the student from the 1857 edition. However, there is another important addition to this book. For that, let's look at the publisher's introduction. I will be reading the first 3 paragraphs. With Hebrew, as with many other languages, mastery of the alphabet is the first and highest hurdle to jump for one who desires some working knowledge of the language. But this edition of Gesenius Hebrew and Chaldee Lexicon to the Old Testament, being numerically coded to Strong's exhaustive concordance, is designed especially for the Bible student who has no knowledge whatever of Hebrew, who is unable to even recognize a single Hebrew letter. Since the publication of Strong's Concordance in 1894, it has been possible for any Bible student to do simple comparative studies of Old Testament words. This concordance gives every word in the English Bible a number, and this number guides one to the proper Hebrew or Chaldee word in the concise dictionary of the words in the Hebrew Bible, located in the back of the concordance. Strong did not intend, however, for this concise dictionary to be exhaustive or very precise. His purpose was to give the basic meaning of a word and a glimpse of the breadth of its various connotations. Thorough word studies in the Semitic vocabulary of the Old Testament would still require the use of a full-fledged Hebrew-English lexicon, or dictionary. Until this edition of Gesenius, such word studies were beyond the reach of students who could not read Hebrew. The numbers found in Strong's appear in this edition next to the appropriate Hebrew word. The student simply looks up an English word in Strong's Concordance, finds the number, looks up that number in the margin of this volume, and sees the appropriate Hebrew word and reads its English meanings. It is important to keep in mind that the code numbers Strong assigned to the Old Testament words were not italicized. Those assigned to the New Testament words are italicized. By remaining alert to this distinction, the student can prevent confusion and save much time. Okay, so why is this important? First, it shows us that the only other additions to the 1847 text, besides the note to the student from the 1857 edition, is the inclusion of the Strong's word numbers, and that this has been done for the benefit of those who cannot read Hebrew, most of us who speak English. Another important takeaway from these paragraphs is that Strong never intended for his concise dictionary to be exhaustive or very precise. Also, for those of you who may not be familiar with what a lexicon is, you can see in the highlighted text that a lexicon is a dictionary. And as we all know, a dictionary provides all the known meanings to whatever word is being defined. The importance of this statement will become evident in later videos. Now let's look at the preface page, which would be taken from the original 1847 edition. Now, before I read the highlighted section down there, we need a little bit of background. Wilhelm Gesenius' original work was in German. It was translated into English by Samuel Tregelles. It is the English translation of Gesenius' original work that was published by Baxter and Sons in 1847. The paragraph I will now read tells how this translation was carried out. This translation was conducted on the following plan. Each root word was taken as it stands in the thesaurus, and the Lexicon manual was compared with it, such corrections or additions being made as seemed needful. The root and derivatives were at once translated, every scripture reference being verified and, when needful, corrected. A faithful adherence to this plan must ensure it is manifest not only correctness in the work, but also much of the value of the thesaurus in the addition to the Lexicon manual. Now, the section of this statement I want to focus on is every scripture reference being verified and, when needful, corrected. This statement in the preface is of the utmost importance and significance, as you will find out in future videos. So the first question we must answer: when a scripture is being verified, what version of the Bible is it being verified against? In 1847, when this book was first published, there was only one widely available and generally accepted English version of the Bible, and that was the King James Version. In fact, during this time period, any published reference to the Bible, unless otherwise specifically stated, would have been understood to be a reference to the King James Version. Because of this, we can say with 100% certainty that when a scripture reference is being verified in this lexicon, it was being verified against the King James Version. This video has been intended as a primer for future videos, where I will be using this lexicon to present evidence that the Bible has been changed. It does not matter whether you are a Christian or a non-Christian. What I will be presenting is still compelling evidence that our reality is changing around us. If you are a Christian and have tried to convince your family, friends, and pastors that the Bible has been altered, you have probably been met with an array of unpleasant responses, sometimes even hostility. Even so, we can't give up. Like me, I am sure you intuitively know that the changes of the Bible are a harbinger of things to come. As those who can see the changes, I believe we have a responsibility to those around us to awaken them to what is happening. If you do not currently see Mandela effects, it is my hope and prayer that as you see the evidence presented, you too will be awakened.